Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're taking a really profound journey into Guide Xufang's writings from Life Chen Yuan, specifically looking at a fascinating piece called Out of the Smog of Human Nature. You know that suffocating feeling, the endless news cycles, the constant striving, the anxiety that just seems to hang in the air right now? Well, we're mapping out a path from that very modern anxiety straight to absolute inner clarity. Let's get right into it.
The deepest smog is the smog of human nature. Wow, right? It's a heavy thought, but it completely nails that claustrophobic vibe of modern information overload. We talk a ton about environmental pollution in the air we breathe, but Xufang is pointing out something way more intimate and insidious here. It's this invisible cloud that wraps right around our minds and our spirits.
Think about the contrast here. Physical smog gives us dim skies, gloomy mountains, and crying rivers. It's physically desolate. But human smog? That's a state where psychology gets deviant, the truth gets totally twisted, and evil hides in plain sight. According to the text, this spiritual pollution is actually far more dangerous because it warps our entire reality. It makes humanity lose its direction, letting falsehoods and ugliness run absolutely wild while shackling up truth and beauty.
So how exactly is this defined? The framework describes the smog of human nature as the psychological and spiritual pollution caused by human desires. The core idea here is that human nature is fundamentally pure, bright, and spotless. Think of a perfectly clean, polished mirror. But then, this smog just rolls in and coats that mirror in grime. Suddenly, we can't see ourselves, we can't see the world clearly, and we're left trapped, basically having no clue where to turn.
Which brings us to part 1, the origins of the smog. How exactly does this happen?
The progression here is honestly absolutely fascinating. It starts off completely innocent. Step 1 is just basic survival. We need to eat, find shelter, stay safe. Normal, right? But once we lock that down, we slide right into step 2, social desires. We want respect. We want to show off a little, get some fame, build wealth, and leave a massive legacy. And that relentless pursuit of power and money, that is the exact trigger for step 3. Because you just can't be at peace when you're constantly chasing those things. The mirror gets coated in dust. That innocent survival instinct spirals into anxiety, resentment, fear, and conflict. The sediment rises, and boom, the smog is formed.
What's really wild is how this ancient-sounding philosophy diagnoses our modern lives so perfectly. I mean, look at these symptoms. Submerged in a sea of information. If that doesn't describe daily doom scrolling, I don't know what does. Or rushing around like ants on a hot pan. What a perfect visual for modern burnout, right? It also points out this crazy emotional roller coaster where you feel ecstatic like the master of the universe one minute and then plunge into a bottomless abyss of depression the next. Oh, and the most ironic symptom of all, this false sense of superiority. That feeling of everyone else is asleep, but I'm awake, right? Right before a wave of reality hits and pulls you back into the mud.
So, how do we fix it? Part 2, finding the solution and clearing that human smog.
Xufang actually lays out some really clear, actionable steps to protect a pure heart. First, light the sacred lamp in your heart. Basically, find your true moral center. Second, guard your own field. I absolutely love this one. Just focus on what you can actually control. Don't try to fish in troubled waters or exploit chaotic situations. You have to actively reduce your desires, restrain your impulses, and, this is crucial, do not just blindly follow the wave of the times. The text literally warns against trusting all the instigation and hype coming from that endless sea of information.
And if you want to achieve that calm, the guidance is pretty specific. Seek spiritual clarity by looking backward, not jumping on the next viral trend. Try communicating with the enduring wisdom of historical figures, like Jesus, Shakyamuni Buddha, or Lao Tzu. Stop looking for quick shortcuts. Look, when you're anxious, you become disorderly. The advice here is to patiently sit tight, wait for the metaphorical sandstorm to pass, and firmly believe that the light is going to come after the darkness.
Moving into part 3, the iron law of the universe and cosmic consequences. And that iron law, it's karma. In the Life Chen framework, this isn't just a loose concept, it's an absolute, unbreakable rule of the universe. What you put out there and what you get back are always exactly equal across time. The text warns us not to be short-sighted. If you achieve this ruthless, ecstatic success today by stepping all over people, it's inevitably going to shackle you to some pretty wretched circumstances tomorrow. It's a real sobering reminder. What you do in the smog has eternal consequences.
Just listen to the sheer poetry of this next concept.
If your heart is luminous, there is a blue sky even in a dark room. If your thoughts are dark, there are ghosts even in the day. Wow. It beautifully illustrates that our internal state completely dictates our external reality. You literally cannot clear the physical smog until you clear the human smog inside your own mind.
And this scales up into a truly mind-expanding perspective. The text describes human pettiness as competing in the time of a flint light, like a tiny spark, or fighting over space on a snail's horn. That is literally how the universe views our frantic, anxiety-inducing daily struggles. Now contrast that with the cosmic scale. Leisurely watching flowers bloom, or following scudding clouds with absolutely zero intention to leave or stay. It really highlights how futile our tiny, ego-driven fights are against the vast, peaceful indifference of the universe.
Which brings us to Part 4, Living in the Future, in a Beautiful Era.
Xu teachings actually offer this incredibly soaring, hopeful way out of our current suffering. The instruction is totally counterintuitive. Don't live in the present, live in the future. The promise here is that when the smog finally clears and the muddy waters sink into the abyss, the Earth's purity is going to be fully restored. It describes this approaching era for civilized people as suffocatingly beautiful, like a poetic Xanadu, where the worthy use their talents and the whole world is just one big family. Talk about a powerful incentive to wipe the dust off your mirror today, right? You want to be ready for that brilliantly clear tomorrow. So, after all the struggles, all the anxiety, all that rushing around like ants on a hot pan just to secure a little wealth or status, the text asks us to look back at the old battlefields and ruined walls of history and ask, who won? Who lost? Who was complacent and who was frustrated? It's such a profound question that completely reframes the true value of our worldly struggles. When the smog eventually finally clears, what is your legacy actually going to be? Think about that as you go through your day. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this helps you look past the smog.